Well, a commemoration ceremony will be held at Coogee Beach in Sydney this morning to mark the 20th anniversary of the Bali bombings, where 6 members of the Coogee Dolphins Rugby League lost their lives. Club president Clint Thompson and 5 players were killed when a bomb detonated outside the Sari club. And Albert Talarico, who became president of the club after Clint's passing, joins us live now. Albert, good morning to you. Thanks for your time this morning. How do you reflect on a day like today?
Thanks for having me, Peter. It's one of those days you wish had never happened. And today, the anniversary, especially the big numbers, and this one's the 20th, it really hit home for a lot of us, and in particular me, just not so long ago when the youngest one would have turned 40, and that was young Jerry Yo. And those sorts of things just sit back in your mind and you float through time a little bit. We don't forget, we really stay in contact as best we can with the parents and the families and their siblings as such. But little moments like that just bring it to the fore. And then, of course, we've all got children now, so we hold them that little bit tighter. And you hope that nothing else ever happens of what happened that tragic night 20 years ago.
Well, let's go to that tragic night 20 years ago, Albert. How did you become aware of it? It's one of those instances where everyone knows where they were.
Yeah, phone started ringing at around 5:30 on the Sunday morning. And then, you put on TV, and we weren't getting much out of Bali really until around about 5:30. And then by about 9 o'clock that night, all the calls had come through that we'd realised that things weren't good. And we had people already on the ground there, and messages were coming back. And unfortunately, we were to learn that we were to have lost 6 of our boys.
And how did you process that, Albert?
I don't think we've ever properly processed it. The next day, we all grouped together just at our regular haunt here at Coogee. And we were there for about 12 hours, and then those that flew over came back on the flight, and that landed around 10 o'clock on the Monday night. And then the emotion started all over again. And between, I think, October 12 and December 7, I think we attended, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 funerals because there were other people that we knew. There were memorial services, there were fundraisers. It just really was around about, it was almost like 42 days of absolute hell, but there were some joy in between, there were some births. And I suppose out of that, with the first of the Bali babies was born, which was early December, so I suppose there was a little bit of light amongst all the darkness.
And it's been a journey, hasn't it? Because it wasn't just that isolated attack. There were several in the not too distant future after that. Then further along the journey, you had these guys who were released from prison that stirs up all these emotions, no doubt. So how's that whole journey been to get to where you are today?
Yeah, that's the interesting part, and a lot of people forget about the other bombs that happened afterwards. There are other Australians that were killed, and our thoughts are with them as well. And I think there was a year after that, and then there were some people that were killed in the consulate, and also the Balinese people as well. And they're beautiful people. They didn't ask for this to happen. Let's not forget them as well. There was 202 people that died, and if you add those that also passed away and were killed in the years afterwards, the number gets quite significant. It was just a terrible time in that area for about 3 or 4 years, and I think the authorities did their best to try and quell it, and hopefully that's the end of it.
So, Albert, how will you honour the lives and the memory of those who lost their lives today, and also those family members, those who survived?
Today is a very special ceremony. We've been coming here for 20 years. We can always bag councils for not fixing potholes or picking up rubbish, but I'll give credit where credit's due, and Randwick Council has done a fabulous job. There are 4 beautiful monuments on our point, and they renamed the point in 2003 to Dolphins Point as a part of Dunningham Reserve, and they're just beautiful monuments, one that represents our club, one that represents our community, one that represents our state, and then the big one that you can see behind me, and I'm sure you'll get a shot of that. Yeah. That's the big one, and that's very special because, people come up here and they get married, or they train, or they meditate, and it's to those, some may even pray. It could be their cathedral on the hill, we don't know. But for our families today and their friends, we'll just be there for them. There's going to be a lot of people here today, and I've said it once before, our community became a little bit closer, and no one needs to be afraid to cry today because there'll be plenty of shoulders to lean on.
Okay. Albert Talarico, really appreciate you coming on the program this morning. Hope all things go well, but thanks again for sharing some of your thoughts today on a day that I'm sure there will be a whole bunch of different feelings that are all stirred up. Albert, thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Peter.